It's our Emmy Award Special with a look back at the night when television honors television. We have a host of our own TV personalities lined up to give you the lowdown on what went down.
So don't touch that dial, because the real deal starts now.
Welcome to the special Emmy edition of The Real Deal, Ball State's one and only entertainment news show. I'm Kaylee Russell.
And I'm Connor Fack. The Academy of Television Arts and Sciences has been awarding Emmys in some form or another since 1949. And while all Emmys seek to recognize and honor excellence in television programming, these days there's simply too much to honor in one night.
Yeah, that's right. So just to be clear, last Sunday saw the Primetime Emmys, recognizing notable programs originally aired in the evening or at night.
Even with a narrowed field, however, the ceremony lasted over 3 hours, a bit of a stretch for viewers, but certainly not without twists and turns along the way. Here to give us his play-by-play of the evening is Braderick Morrison. Tell us how it happened, Brad.
The 65th Annual Primetime Emmy Awards that aired this past Sunday certainly gave audience viewers an unpredictable night. Neil Patrick Harris hosted the primetime show for the second time, but he may have kicked off the surprises when he didn't open with the type of upbeat musical number he's become known for. Instead, his musicless opening was funny yet lackluster, bringing past hosts on stage and a much-needed cameo for Golden Globe hosts Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. After the underwhelming opening, they gave out the first award, which began the long series of events that ruined everyone's Emmy office polls. Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy went to Nurse Jackie's Merritt Wever, who probably delivered the shortest acceptance speech in Emmy history. Veep actors Tony Hale and Julia Louis-Dreyfus both took home Emmys for Best Supporting Actor and Best Actress in a Comedy, while Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory almost surprisingly took home his second Emmy for Best Actor. The comedy category, however, was the only funny portion of this hot mess of an awards, which some Twitter users referred to as #DeathEmmys. The night was filled with several tributes to a few of television's finest who had passed on in the last year, which included comedian Jonathan Winters, actress Jean Stapleton, producer Gary Goldberg, James Gandolfini of The Sopranos, and Glee's Cory Monteith. Of those memorials, Cory Monteith was the longest, in order to allow actress Jane Lynch to give a PSA of sorts about the dangers of addiction. If these remembrances weren't depressing enough, there was also roughly a 6-minute-long in memoriam montage of all the other stars who died last year. In an attempt to turn the night around, the nominees for Outstanding Choreography were challenged to create a dance number involving several of television's finest shows, including Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, and American Horror Story Asylum. Unfortunately, Downton Abbey was snubbed in this number because Dame Maggie Smith could not be there to pop, lock, and drop. The winner for Outstanding Choreography went to Derek Hough for his work on Dancing with the Stars. Yet another shocking moment came when the Colbert Report took home the Emmy for Outstanding Variety Show, beating out Jon Stewart, who had won a record-breaking 10 Emmys in a row in that category. On the miniseries movie side of things, the flashy Liberace biopic Behind the Candelabra won several awards Sunday, including Outstanding TV Movie and Best Actor in a TV Movie, which went to Michael Douglas, who cleverly avoided the censors with several play-on words in his acceptance speech. Guess it takes a big man to say those things, huh, Michael? Another upset of the night occurred when Jeff Daniels won Best Actor in a Drama for his role in The Newsroom, instead of favored Breaking Bad star Bryan Cranston. While Best Actress went to Claire Danes, who took home a second Emmy for her role in Homeland. However, fans of Modern Family and Breaking Bad were not let down. Modern Family took home Outstanding Comedy Series for a 4th time in a row, while Breaking Bad finally won the Emmy for Outstanding Drama Series. So to recap, Neil Patrick Harris was kind of funny, Modern Family won again, and somebody famous died in Hollywood. That's it for the Emmy Recap. I'm Brad Morrison.
Thanks, Brad. That just about sums up what I saw. In fact, a lot of us at The Real Deal actually watched the broadcast together, but in doing so, sometimes we run the risk of getting stuck in our own ivory tower of infotainment critique.
True. So, in a fairly rare move, we're going to take you out of BSU's Studio B and onto the streets of Muncie. Here's our own special correspondent, Nick Ewing, with what you had to say about the Emmys.
Hey, what's up, guys? Nick Ewing here. I'm at Ball State's beautiful campus, and I'm going to be walking around asking kids what they thought about this year's Emmys. So let's see what they had to say. Did you watch the Emmys this year?
I did not.
No?
Nope.
Why not?
I actually didn't even know they were on.
I did not watch the Emmys.
Unfortunately, I didn't.
Why not?
Sorry. I was actually watching football that night.
No, I did not.
Why not?
I didn't know they were on, and just not really that interested in it.
Okay, so we've had no luck finding anybody who has seen the Emmys down here, so I think we're going to move on over to the Letterman building, where hopefully there's some more people interested in things like the Emmys. So you watched the Emmys this year?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was okay. There were some like weird people that won that I wasn't expecting.
Were you surprised by some of the winners?
Yeah, definitely.
Like who in particular?
I was surprised that the guy from Breaking Bad got beat out, and also Merritt Weaver, like her 3-second speech. I thought it was funny, but I thought it was weird that like Sofia Vergara didn't win.
I usually try to watch things like the Emmys, Oscars, and all those things because you never know what's going to happen. It's live, and those people are pretty crazy. So I just love the show in general.
Did anything about this year's Emmys take you guys by surprise?
Definitely the choreography part. That was awesome. The best choreographer.
You watched the Emmys this year?
Yes.
How did you think Neil Patrick Harris did as a host?
He did good.
Did good?
Yeah, he's charismatic.
Did you like him?
Yeah, a lot of surprises, but they were pretty good.
Did anything take you by surprise, like big time?
Award-wise?
Yeah.
Yes, lead actor in a dramatic role with Jeff Daniels, which I'm very proud of Jeff Daniels, but I didn't feel like he deserved it, even though I love him in that TV show. I felt that there were other characters involved that could have been better.
Right, there you have it, straight from Ball State students themselves. Once we did find people to watch the Emmys, they seemed to really enjoy them. Although there were a few surprises, and everyone loved Neil Patrick Harris, of course. I'm Nick Ewing. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Nick. It's refreshing to get outside now and then.
That's true, Kaylee. Doctors recommend an average of 30 minutes a day of physical activity to stay healthy.
Huh?
In fact, now might be a good time to sneak in some of that exercise because it's just about time for our first break. Jog to the fridge or something.
Right, but make sure to jog back because there's still more Real Deal coming up.
Let's bring that trophy back for America. Sometimes gotta close my eyes just to open my soul. And tonight is the night I got a feeling that I'm about to act a fool.
Hija. Quiero vivir contigo toda la vida.
How was the first day?
Nothing special.
And I'm feeling good.
He's got your baby. 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 He's got your baby.
But we won't stop him either. Let him do what he needs to.
I know you know where they are.
Where's my daughter?
We're glad you stuck around. Our special Emmy show is far from over. Still to come, we've got Lydia Lucas updating us on some of her favorite TV fandoms and Ramel Tadai explaining the rise of Netflix.
Now, there sure is a lot of TV out there to watch, make no mistake. Unfortunately, the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences can favor some shows seemingly unfairly over others. Of course, people get snubbed every year, but do they really deserve it?
On that note, we have a word from our own lovable curmudgeon himself, Chauncey Baker.
Yep, it's that time of year again. The Emmys. With television becoming an evolving format, some are saying television series like Breaking Bad and The Walking Dead are becoming like books. Its importance to American culture is ever widening, which is strange considering the fact that programs are still using techniques developed in the 1940s. Technicalities aside, I feel like TV programming has vastly improved. But while the Emmys are an important ceremony for TV, and as prestigious as it is, I've got a bone to pick with them. First of all, I love the show Louie. It combines over-the-top humor with serious, everyday humor. One episode involves poop jokes 1 minute, while the next it talks about serious matters like abortion, divorce, and being a father. Louis C.K. is great playing a fictionalized version of himself, and he does a good job convincing the audience that he is a real person. Oh, wait, he kind of is. But once again, Jim Parsons wants the best actor in a comedy series for The Big Bang Theory. I love him as Sheldon, but the character is too much of a one-trick pony to win this much acclaim from critics. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but the show is a tad overrated. In my opinion, everywhere is wearing Bazinga shirts these days. Just saying, speaking of overlooked actresses, Katie Sagal still hasn't won as Gemma, the hovering biker mom from Sons of Anarchy. If you haven't watched the show, she is one chick you don't want to mess with. I kid you not, she made her son's drug-addicted ex-girlfriend OD on heroin just to keep her away from her son. Yeah, heavy stuff. Don't get me wrong, I love the Emmys. They're a good time to be had by all, but there are still other shows that aren't getting any recognition, like FX's Justified being one of them. Once again, if you haven't watched this show, go do yourself a favor and buy the DVD box sets. You won't regret it. On a final note, since Breaking Bad is coming to a close here pretty soon, other TV dramas can breathe easy, knowing that they one day might have a chance to snag some Emmys. I'm Chauncey Baker, and this has been The Rant, Emmy Edition.
Thanks, Chauncey. Unfortunately, offbeat comedy shows weren't the only programs largely swept under the rug by the Academy.
Instead, entire genres may be getting the cold shoulder from the Emmys.
With a look into TV fandoms and the often overlooked shows they support, here's Lydia Lucas. Lydia?
Science fiction and fantasy shows have some of the biggest and most loyal fan bases, but fans of these genres may have noticed that very few of their favorite shows were nominated for Emmys this year. In fact, the only shows nominated this year that might fall into these two categories were Game of Thrones, which didn't win any of its 14 nominations, and maybe, if you're feeling generous, American Horror Story. This isn't a new phenomenon. The Emmys have always been notoriously dismissive of sci-fi and fantasy. Star Trek, the original series, one of the most influential shows of the science fiction world, never once won any of the 13 nominations it managed to garner in its 3-year stint. The Twilight Zone did a little better, winning for writing in 1960 and 61 and cinematography in 1961. Skipping ahead to more recent years, things haven't really changed much. It's pretty obvious that the industry as a whole doesn't take sci-fi and fantasy seriously. They think it's escapist and therefore not as good. There's a category for best drama and best comedy, but where do you put something like Firefly? But there have to be some outliers, right? Well, one glaring one anyway. Star Trek The Next Generation won 18 Primetime Emmys out of 58 total nominations in its 7 years on the air. But even this example proves the industry's bias, because it's not really the numbers that speak to the obvious disregard for an entire genre, it's the type of categories. When sci-fi or fantasy do win, it's for categories like sound editing and mixing, visual effects, makeup, hair, costumes, and art direction. All of Next Gen's wins were in one of the categories I just mentioned, and it seems to me that the shows with the biggest fandoms are the most ignored. Doctor Who, Firefly, Fringe, and Supernatural, between them have 5 nominations and 1 win. This year's biggest snub in the fandom world was for a show on BBC America called Orphan Black. I myself have not yet seen it, but as I understand it, the fandom's biggest beef is that Tatiana Maslany, who plays the main character Sarah, wasn't even nominated for her work on the show. Why is this so upsetting? Well, it becomes a lot more impressive when you find out that Orphan Black is about clones, and Maslany plays 9 other characters on the show besides Sarah, all of which are amazingly distinct and well-crafted characters. This is a pretty amazing feat for one actress, so it does beg the question, why are we still ignoring the sci-fi and fantasy genre? This has been TV Fandoms. I'm Lydia Lucas.
Thanks, Lydia. It seems silly not to give sci-fi and fantasy shows more recognition when they're looking better than ever and showing no signs of going away.
Indeed it does.
But speaking of going away, it looks like it's time for another break.
Just make sure to hurry back. Coming up, we take a detour from the Emmys to talk about new TV pilots with Nicole Kane and old TV shows with Caleb Mylink-Smith. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. Actors, producers, and networks are continually on the lookout for the next big thing that will draw in audiences, and maybe win an Emmy or 2 down the line.
But like always, each new show has to start out with a pilot. Here to explain just 2 of the most recent and exciting new proposals is Nicole Kane with Pilot Watch. Take it away, Nicole.
Thanks, Connor. The past couple of weeks have seen the premieres of multiple new television pilots. Two of these new shows worth noting are Sleepy Hollow and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Sleepy Hollow, which was produced and co-created from the brains behind Transformers, Star Trek, and Fringe, is a mystery thriller that has some big shoes and expectations to fill. This new series takes place in none other than Sleepy Hollow, but this classic tale is given a modern twist by taking place in 2013. The series begins with main character Ichabod Crane being resurrected from the dead to help stop the Headless Horseman, but he can't do it alone. With the help of Abby Mills, a local lieutenant, the two find themselves in many dangerous adventures dealing with the strange occurrences tied to the town and the mystery of the Headless Horseman. Sleepy Hollow may very well become the next cult favorite, or could simply dwindle out, but I'll let you guys watch and be the judge. The next show that premiered last week is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, starring the hilarious Saturday Night Live alum Andy Samberg. The show portrays the life of a group of detectives in Brooklyn who take their job not so seriously. But the arrival of a new chief, the easygoing atmosphere of this workplace could change forever. Being far from the typical crime drama, the show focuses on the employees' rivalries, antics, and personal lives. This show has great comedy, and if you are a fan of The Office, I highly suggest Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And the main factor with a new show's success, like this one, is the viewer's response. It could have some raving about it, and others complaining that it's too similar to the popular shows Parks and Rec and The Office. With the new series launch of Sleepy Hollow and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you may actually have something to look forward to on Monday and Tuesday nights. You can find both of these shows on Fox. This has been Pilot Watch, and I'm Nicole Kane.
Thanks, Nicole. I remember mentioning Sleepy Hollow way back when it was first announced, so I'm glad to see that it made it to a full pilot.
Everybody loves a new twist on an old story, Connor.
That they do, at least for a while.
Yeah, sometimes a story gets too twisty and leaves the audience wondering what in the world happened. To shed some light on shows that just may have overstayed their welcome, up next is Caleb Mylink Smith with a segment we lovingly call Past Their Prime. Caleb?
Have you ever thought a TV show should have quit before it went downhill or bowed out gracefully like Lost did? I have, and I'm here to tell you about 3 of them. As you might have guessed, the first one is The Cleveland Show. I don't know who the genius is that said Cleveland should have his own show, but they made a horrible decision. The show is basically Family Guy, but with characters they couldn't get to fit in. When talking about this show, it isn't really a matter of how bad it's gotten. It's more of a matter of it never should have started. I don't think it's one of the worst shows out there, but it sure didn't need to start with American Dad already out there as a Family Guy substitute. Luckily for us, Fox finally came to its senses and canceled The Cleveland Show. Another show past its prime is Boned. It's the story of 2 cops, 1 male, 1 female, solving crimes while there's always a definite romantic tension between the two. When they get together, then they get together. That's it, right? If not the main plot point of the show was just resolved. That wasn't it though. They went ahead and decided to explore the relationship and its dynamics. Then the female lead gets pregnant. Now it's definitely over, right? Nope. They decided to keep going and I don't know, probably do a few episodes where the baby is kidnapped or something. They're really stretching what could be considered quality character development. It's a rare show that can survive having a baby inserted and still continue along while keeping the kid relevant. Of course, they shouldn't just cut it off. There's no bigger pet peeve of mine than a show that is canceled without any closure. I'm looking at you, Jericho, Terra Nova, and especially Firefly. My final suggestion is that Glee wrap itself up. I honestly don't know how it has been able to put itself in a trap to still keep going for as long as needed. In a show, they constantly need new members as the seniors finish school, which means characters are always entering and leaving with plenty of time for us to get attached. So the how of how to end the show would be difficult. It would have to be sudden and probably a bit of a downer. There's also a matter of how one of the main actors, Corey Monteith, has died. I'm not sure how the series will be able to continue with their main male other than killing him in the show, which is a definite possibility, but it seems like it would destroy a lot of the plans the writers seem to have. Not to mention it would make the plotline of the show's lead female, Rachel Berry, who is played by Leah Michele, near pointless. Besides, 88 episodes isn't a bad run, and if it's ended in the upcoming season, the grand total of 110 episodes will be there. Wrapping it up before it gets too out of hand would save the show from jumping the shark. I just hope they would be able to pull it off in a way that doesn't leave the show on a bad note. Of course, this is all TV, so as long as the money train is coming, none of these shows will probably end. This has been Past Its Prime. I'm Caleb Mylink Smith.
Thank you, Caleb. That was enlightening. It's Probably a bad sign that I didn't even realize most of those shows were still on.
Probably, but I guess someone's watching. Then again, whoever let low audience numbers get in the way of giving the people the shows they deserve?
Who indeed?
Now, the show's nearly over, but stick it out to see Ramel Tadai explain why Netflix is suddenly a force to be reckoned with, as well as a final word from Connor and myself.
When you find love, and you will, don't ever let it go.
Honey, what are you doing? He just wanted international travel booty.
That man could have had intergalactic travel booty.
Yourself and another person. It's a two-way thing.
I thought you were different.
And maybe it's time to try something new.
Saving the world. We have to shut down the machine before the food animals get off the island and invade the mainland. All we have to do is cross the breakfast bog, brave the food animal jungle, and scale the Big Rock Candy Mountain. Piece of cake.
Cloudy with a chance of meatballs, too.
And we're back. I'm an optimist, so new technology excites me because I think it's going to make the world a better place. Call me naive.
You're naive.
And if not a better place, at least different. One of the most recent tech revolutions in television has come in the form of online streaming, with bandwidth titan Netflix heading the pack.
To talk about the groundbreaking shows and implications of this new age media giant, here's Ramel Tadai with the rise of Netflix. Ramel?
On Sunday night at the 65th Annual Emmy Awards, Netflix made history, receiving 14 nominations and earning 3 wins. The popular internet streaming service had finally made its mark amongst other networks represented during the ceremony. From a vengeful congressman to the return of a dysfunctional family business and their shenanigans, to even the first world problems faced in a women's correctional facility, Netflix has not only grown in viewership, but has also altered the way we watch television, as well as having an aggressive push for original programming. Set in present-day Washington, D.C., House of Cards follows the story of Frank Underwood, a Democrat from South Carolina who, after getting passed over for appointment of Secretary of State, decides to exact his revenge on those who portrayed him, with 9 nominations and the sole winner of the Netflix shows for Outstanding Directing in a Drama Series, Outstanding Cinematography for a single camera series, and Outstanding Casting in a Drama Series. Lead actor Kevin Spacey, who plays Underwood, has expressed his feelings towards Netflix's novel distribution model, which allows viewers to binge on entire seasons of content at once. "We have demonstrated that we have learned the lesson that the music industry didn't learn," Spacey said in an interview. "Give the people what they want, when they want it, in the form they want it in, and at a reasonable price, and they'll more than likely pay for it rather than steal for it." After its cancellation by Fox in 2006, fans of Arrested Development were wanting more of the cult series following the lives of the Bluths, a formerly wealthy and habitually dysfunctional family. After much buzz about a possible additional season and a feature film in the works, Netflix finally swooped in and agreed to license new episodes and distribute them exclusively on its streaming video service. With the 15 new episodes all debuting at the same time on Netflix this past May, Arrested was able to earn a nom for lead actor in a comedy series for Jason Bateman's character, Michael Bluth. And finally, the memoir to small screen adaptation of Orange is the New Black, which tells the story of Piper Chapman, a woman who surrenders herself to the government for past crimes in transporting drug money. In 2011, it was announced that Lionsgate Television and Netflix were negotiating with the author Piper Kerman of adapting her memoir, Orange is the New Black, My Year in a Women's Prison, into a 13 straight-to-internet comedy series from Weeds creator Jenji Cohen. After its July 11th release on the service this year, Orange managed to generate more viewers and hours viewed within its first week than either of its latter shows. So, what does this mean for the future of network television and internet streaming services? Well, in my opinion, with the vast amount of viewers in each of the show's followings and immediate renewal for more seasons, Netflix will not only create more original programs each year, but will gradually become a prominent leader in the television industry and eventually become the next HBO.
Thanks, Ramel. And now it's time for our final word. Again, one of the most striking things about this year's Emmys was all of the unexpected wins. As Neil Patrick Harris accurately said mid-broadcast, no one in America is winning their office pool.
Nope. Got literally nothing right.
That's a shame, Connor.
Yeah, I know. I owe the camera guy $20. Sorry, carry on.
Well, the first upset came with the first category, setting the tone for how the rest of the night would play out. Merritt Wever won Best Supporting Actress in the Comedy category, and I think she was more surprised than the rest of us if her super short yet totally brilliant speech is anything to go by.
God, thank you oh no, thanks so much. Thank you so much. I gotta go, bye.
Another big upset was when Jeff Daniels took home the Best Actor prize for The Newsroom instead of Bryan Cranston or Kevin Spacey. Cranston has won 3 times previously for Breaking Bad, so it was surprising when he didn't win again. But perhaps the biggest upset of the night would have to go to The Colbert Report, winning the Comedy Variety category. The Colbert Report ended the 10-year reign of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. As much as I love The Daily Show, I am very happy that Stephen Colbert took home his first and well-deserved Emmy statue. If ever there were a year to win, it would be this year. So in what was a long and often boring Emmys show, at least the surprise winners kept us on our toes.
But they tried so hard, or at least they made it seem like they did. I'm really surprised that no one else here at The Real Deal really cared for Neil's number in the middle of the show bit. It may have been just another arbitrary song to liven up the program, but at least it was lively, and it even admitted to being arbitrary in its own lyrics. In fact, arbitrary seemed to be a major theme of the night, in my opinion. There's just so many questions that don't have good answers. Kaylee, see if you can help me with these. Aside from having a mini-series made about him, why did Elton John have to mumble a song in dedication to Liberace? He died nearly a quarter of a century ago. Aside from neatly happening 50 years ago, what was so special about 1963? Who wants to be reminded of the Kennedy assassination during an awards ceremony? Who decided which deceased stars got a 3-minute personal dedication? I mean, Jane Stapleton hadn't done any significant work in over a decade, and she received a tearful tribute from Rob Reiner. But folks like Larry Hagman, one-time star of I Dream of Jeannie and recently the revamped version of soap opera Dallas, got just a flash of their name in memoriam. Why did the choreography bit start with Luck Be a Lady Tonight when no adaptations of Guidance and Dolls were anywhere on TV this year, and Neil can clearly sing original lyrics? Why did Will Ferrell present 2 awards in a t-shirt and basketball shorts? And who let CBS plug every single one of its new shows via presenter speeches? Got anything?
Nope, sorry.
Many awards shows seem to have been suffering from a lack of focus lately, and Sunday's program was no different, which is really a shame because movies and television continue to be exciting mediums that keep breaking new ground. More and more, we can get our favorite programs where we want and whenever we want. So for some reason, the Emmys this year seemed centered on the past. Dead celebrities, old songs, 1963. To make them more exciting, they really should focus on the future, a future that, in my opinion, never looked brighter.
And speaking of hope for the future, we hope you'll join us next week for another episode of The Real Deal. Be sure to check out our Facebook and Twitter pages for updates on all things entertainment. I'm Kaylee Russell.
And I'm Connor Fack. Thanks for watching.